On May 21st, I visited Beavers Bend State Park in southeast Oklahoma for some big year birding. And let me just clarify, my big year is a personal challenge, nothing official. I'm trying to see more birds this year than what is on my life list of 343. In late April and into May, southeast Oklahoma is a great place to see migrating warblers and other neotropical songbirds. Some of the places for good birding include Little River National Wildlife Refuge near Idabel, Red Slough Wildlife Management Area near Hayworth, and Beavers Bend State Park, a few miles north of Broken Bow. And Beavers Bend was our destination on this trip. This park is in the beautiful Ouachita Mountains, and habitat consists mostly of coniferous and mixed forests. One particular bird I wanted to see on this trip was the pine warbler, which is fairly common in the area. After arriving, we heard calls of pine warblers almost immediately. We parked near the Mountain Fork River and hiked along its banks in search of birds. It was overcast, which was a mixed blessing. The birds were active well into afternoon, but the decreased light made getting good photos more difficult. Now, I wanted to see a pine warbler, and any other big year birds would be a bonus. But my daughter and grandson accompanied me, and nearly every species was a year bird for them. In fact, they added many lifers that day as well. It was clear immediately that the woods along the river were teeming with warblers and vireos. We saw or heard pine warbler, yellow-throated warbler, yellow warbler, hooded warbler, northern parula, prothonotary warbler, Louisiana water thrush, Blackburnian warbler, and American redstart. There were many red-eyed vireos, some white-eyed vireos, one blue-headed vireo, and a few yellow-throated vireos. When in the field, I used my Merlin app to help me locate and identify birds, but I won't just add a bird because Merlin picked it up. For instance, the app picked up a mourning warbler, but I never heard nor saw the bird, and the app didn't pick it up again, so I didn't count it. Then the app identified a black whiskered vireo, which would be highly improbable. As much as I wanted it to be true, this mostly Caribbean species is typically found close to coastal areas and would be way off course if it were at Beavers Bend State Park. The Merlin app picked up a Philadelphia vireo several times, but it always occurred when a red-eyed vireo was singing. I never could find a Philadelphia vireo, only the red-eyed. I later heard that because both species sound so much alike, the app tends to list them both, cycling between the two. I can't say for certain if that's correct, but from what we saw that day, it seems plausible. I'd like to say that the yellow-throated vireo was a life bird, but I've actually seen one before, nearly 10 years ago at High Island, Texas. However, I was very happy to see it and add it to this year's list. I even managed to get a crummy photo and a bit of video. And even some chipping sparrows feeding caterpillars to their babies. But perhaps the highlight of the day was seeing this female pine warbler gathering up nesting materials. We happened to be taking a break when she flew up to check us out. Apparently, we were very close to her favorite place for gathering nesting materials. First, she landed in a shrub and seemed to investigate for a minute. Then she flew to the side of a pine tree for one last test before landing on the ground and getting to work. And that's another thing. Rather than just locating and photographing nature, I enjoy observing things such as behavior as well. Once she had gathered all the materials she could handle, then flew to her nest for the second time, we went ahead and left as we didn't want to scare her while she was on the ground. That was an exhilarating experience. As I mentioned previously, Beavers Bend is a great place for neotropic migrants in April and May, but there are a few things to be aware of. This place seems to be quite a popular tourist destination, and many of those tourists can be loud and obnoxious. And workers for the state were mowing, weed eating, and using leaf blowers all day long. And it was a Sunday. I would think that Saturdays and Sundays are the busiest days of the week, so I can't imagine why they would manicure the place on either one of those days. But oh well. And there seemed to be red helicopters flying overhead every 10 or 15 minutes or so. What that was about, I have no idea, but they were very loud. We still had a great time, and I was able to add the following birds to my list. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please consider clicking on the like icon and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you.